Alright, so for the final video on this tractor, I figured I'd start back to where the channel started. As far as the location, that is. Because as you can see, the tractor has undergone quite a transformation. And as you can tell from the entry, you know, a lot's changed. She's nice and pretty and clean. Somewhat. It is a little dusty from being in chicken house, but it's a work tractor. So, see if I can walk around here and show a few things on it. If you watch my videos, which I know it's a bunch, you know, you can see every single part of this tractor being rebuilt. But it's a lot of watching. Now, not too much has changed up front. We got some new tires. We ended up buying a new original grill and fixing the grill. Got the headlights pointing straight ahead. And actually had to change one of the housings because it was a mismatched housing. The emblems, the Ford logo, those are original, just polished out. Same with the chrome grille on top. We also have the correct style exhaust pipe with the flapper. And of course now the axle doesn't flop around like crazy when you drive over everything because it was wore slap out. As far as this side, about the only thing I really changed on it was the pre-cleaner on the air filter. And that is actually a different air filter because the one on this one was pretty screwed up. That's actually the one that I took off my 861. Because if you remember watching my comparison video, I said that that's what was on it, and that was wrong for that 861. It was supposed to have the box style. So that's where that is. The actual downpipe was changed as well because the one off of this tractor looks like somebody ran it into something and bent it and then re-welded it. So that pipe is also off of the 861. Like I said, I got the new exhaust elbow and stack. Everything else is completely rebuilt. And back here we got some new rear tires from this Century. So hopefully they will last quite a while. I know the new tires aren't as good as the originals. Well, the older ones, this thing didn't have originals. However, those rims are original. They do say Firestone in them, and I did find a production date. I cannot remember what that is off the top of my head, but it is in there. Now back here on the 3-point, pretty much everything back here is new, with the exception of the left upright and the actual rocker. I'm gonna walk up here and just point some stuff out. So we have an original 11-hole drawbar. We have the original drop swinging drawbar, an original top link, and original stabilizers. These actual lift arms are replacements from Dennis Carpenter. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it in any of the videos or not. I know I mentioned it in the original comparison. This left arm was wore slap out. This arm had been replaced. Well, whenever I put the drawbar in, it went in, no issue. Well, then when I tried to put the stabilizers on, it did not line up. There was about a ½ inch difference versus trying to get the stabilizer on. Come to find out, whoever previously had this tractor bought a lift arm for a later model 4000 model tractor. It did not work. So I ended up having to buy a new lift arm for the right side as well. So they are now matching lift arms. Of course, the level box, mine had a aftermarket POS. I don't like those at all. So I sourced that one and rebuilt it. Of course, on these level boxes, everything up here is original all the way back to a 9N. The only difference is your fork. The swinging drawbar bracket, that's one that I'd purchased a long time ago for some parts with the H61. I don't exactly remember what it was. It might have been the lower bracket, but that has been replaced and is not broken and welded back. Of course, up on the hydraulics themselves, I had a broken draft control spring. And that's kind of about it back here. And of course the fenders, I had to graft the Ford logo in, which I got a video on that if you want to see that. But everything back here is nice and tight, ready to roll. So back here there's not too much to see. And of course, since I converted it from the Selecto speed to the 5-speed, I did add parking brakes, toolbox, running boards, all original. Now, this area up here, this had a lot of transformation. Let's see, where do I start on this? Well, of course the engine was rebuilt. Let's start there. Engine was completely rebuilt. Of course, so was injection pump, power steering cylinder, everything rebuilt. Hydraulic pump, you name it. We got the correct style oil feed line. We got a working temperature gauge now. All the fuel lines were remade with the exception of the injection lines. I actually have working power steering now because whoever had this tractor before took the cylinder off. And that was a very expensive repair right there in and of itself. Power steering pump, they left the top off. It was rusted slap up. I have sourced some parts to fix it. I'm probably going to repair it and just stick it on the shelf. I mean, these pumps don't really fail, but who knows, maybe one day I'll buy another tractor that don't have power steering and I'll have the pump. The drag link is brand new. When they made their contraption up here to steer it, they drilled it out straight versus tapering it. I tried to ream it and my drill turned around and whacked me in the face. Did not feel very good. Almost thought I broke my nose, but luckily I did not. So at that point I said to heck with that one and I bought a replacement. So that's new. Of course the cylinder, all brand new. Has been completely rebuilt by a hydraulic shop. I had the valve machined by a local machine shop. I was going to do that myself, but I don't have a lathe. I want one, but I don't have one. And the shop that did it specialized in spool valves, so yeah, I know it's right. And the thing steers like a dream. You can literally steer it with a finger. And that kind of about sums up this part of it. Like I said, there's a lot of change that happened over here. A lot of neglect. And it's all fixed. So while I'm up here talking about steering, I'm going to swing down here to the bottom of this tractor. This tractor's steering was literally a joke. Of course, you know, I mentioned there's no power was no power steering. The front axle on this thing was wallered out, something awful. The ditch there, my chicken house, you know, my drainage ditch at the door, I would hit the front end of this thing in that ditch, and I swear the axle pivoted not a half an inch, it pivoted about 2 inches backwards. I mean, it was awful. So, there's a new radius rod pin here, and then way up there is a new king pin. Of course, both of those are not reproduced. I had to make them myself. Those inner tie rods, ends, they're originals, outers replaced because somebody had welded some kind of automotive end to it and it was just a disaster. So those are not the correct style ends, but they do work. And I mentioned that in the front end video if you need information on that. And there's just kind of another look up in there. Okay, with this tractor being so tall, it's a little hard to get up in this area to film. So the camera's probably gonna be a little jerky here in a minute. Fuel tank, original, repainted. This is actually a color called Indian Silver from PPG. Does a pretty good job. Correct proof meter decal for a diesel. Of course, all the hinges have been replated. And one thing on this decal, and all the decals on this tractor, I have not mentioned it. I think I may have mentioned it in the actual applying video. These decals are from George Bradish Tractor Parts. Both this tractor and my 861 have these decals. I really love them. They're great people. So just a little plug for them. If you need decals, look them up. Okay, now for a little bit of shakiness. Down there you can see all new wires, new voltage regulator. It is an original glow plug solenoid, but everything else is pretty much new down in there. Okay, and up here in the driver's seat, there's another Bradish decal. Of course, we plugged up the hole here for the selecto speed warning light. We got a new generator warning light, new temperature gauge, original restored fuel level and oil pressure, and then we got the correct 5-speed proof meter with a whopping 3.5 hours on the tractor already. And of course, most of that's just troubleshooting and breaking in and this and that. And there's another shot of the air cleaner. And so with that, this tractor is now fully restored and ready to go back to work. Which I have no idea when this video is going to come out. Currently it's the 1st of May, and I do have some potatoes that are needing some hilling very soon, and that's one of the reasons this tractor was purchased. So we might have some video of that here at the end of this video, or I might wait and have it later on. We'll just have to wait and see how this video turns out lengthwise and whatnot. I guess that's all I can say now is thanks for watching everything that I've put out there. I currently do not have anything else lined up, mainly just because these are very expensive to redo. I may have a cost breakdown video come out, which of course most of the stuff I bought for this tractor came in 2020, and of course since then we have had hyperinflation, so of course all those numbers would be skewed like crazy. But like I say again, just thanks for watching and follow me along on this journey. I hope you guys learned something and can get your tractors fixed and working and keep these things alive for another 50-60 years. Alright, so here's the Maiden Voyage for the tractor. I got my hilling attachment on it. I'm getting ready to hill up these 2 rows of taters right here. And I got 2 more below that I'm going to have to switch because for some reason, even though these are planted at the same time, the lower 2 rows are smaller. Might be because of all the rain we've had. I'm going to try to film this the best of my ability. Here's the fruits of my labor. little more dirt on them, but not too much. I'm gonna go swap on to my other side dressing hose and do these lower 2 rows now. As you can see, they ain't nearly as good as the first 2.